Good morning. It is Thursday, June 1st, and it has been a while since I have made a video, since I have shared a daily casting, since I've done a lot actually in the public eye with tarot. I've been kind of taking a little bit of a break and a little bit of a step back, and I was inspired today to create this and to do a daily casting for you, maybe for the month of June. I would love to say I'm going to do these more frequently. Lately, I've just been kind of going with whatever feels right in my life. And, my birthday was yesterday. So with the solar return and the first day of my new year, I thought it would be nice to share a casting. So let's see how this goes. I'm using the Out of Hand Tarot. I still have some copies left in my shop. I've decided that I'm also taking a break from getting decks printed for a while, so because of that, anything that we have in the shop is basically the final printing. Once we are done with those, then I might actually draw a new deck. We don't know. We won't see. I've learned to never say never, right? So let's just get into it. Let's see. Let's see what the cards and the tiles have to say. So I'm going to cut the deck for you. We have strength. I love that. Strength to get through this tower year. Yes, that is right. I have started a tower year. Which oddly enough, my next year, I don't go to the star. My numerology brings me to the strength card. So that's kind of a neat thing to see. But for the month of June, maybe we need to harness some strength and some patience. And whenever I see this card, the reason I chose this for Out of Hand, it's a picture of my mother-in-law's hands. She's a hand quilter, and I think of the learning and the patience that goes into creating a quilt like that, and just, I don't think I personally would have the patience to do it, but I just think of that endurance factor, so we're gonna pull a portal to go with it. And we have the dog, which is my Stan. And so we're seeing that the overarching companion for this month could be the dog. It's the things that we're loyal to. It's the things, those things that we love unconditionally, those people, places even, and even our companion animals. With dogs, especially this particular one, I think about the curiosity and the tenacity that he has. I'm just going to place the tiles. We have the devil. And these are my Rider-Waite Redux tiles. I don't usually do reversals because aesthetically I like them upright, and I tend to read. Wow, look at all these majors. Of course, why wouldn't it be majors? Jumping right back into it. Let's do some majors. Okay. And so if you've watched my videos in the past, and you know that a lot of times I like to do a little bit of talking and then I tie it all in with some Lenormand. So we're going to just get right into it right now. And then when it starts to get too big, I'm going to pull in some Lenormand. So the overall theme for June is having that patience, knowing when to take it slow, knowing when to stand up, knowing when to do what you need, what do you feel called to do, right? Like, where is it this month that you might need to harness a little strength? So in these readings, the middle card is like the biggest energy focus. And then the animal companion or the portal or the oracle card that you choose kind of gives like an umbrella to the whole thing. It can have a lot to say, it can have a little bit to say. But in this point, when I see Stan show up in this position, the dog card, I see like having the strength to stand up for what you love, who you love, the things that maybe not be able to speak for themselves, right? This dog was the catalyst for my own personal journey into animal advocacy, mainly pit bull advocacy. And, right now we're in a time in the world where there's so many people who are standing up for themselves, but they don't have the support from others. So find what you're passionate about and where you can support those that maybe need your voice more so than you realize it, you know, but also be curious and listen and be willing to kind of put yourself out there and adventure. What brought us to this point? So when I read with the tiles like this, I read these two as like a pair as from the past that brought us to needing the strength, and then this is the outcome going forward, right? So we've got what brought us here is the devil and the 7 of cups. And the devil to me is like those things that we're chained to, maybe the things that we're believing that we don't really know what truth is anymore, or what, you know, the illusions that happen. And with that 7 of cups, it's going, there's too many conflicting choices. There's too many things coming at us, and we don't know what is right and what is wrong. We're afraid to pick the wrong path. We're afraid to actually listen to our heart because we're chained to something bigger than us, right? So that is where we have to find ourselves in this position of strength, in this position of really taking the time to sit there and realize like all the demons you've already overcome. You've already tamed that wild beast, right? And then, you know, I'm going to pull in a Lenormand on both of them to give us some tethers. And these kind of are like boundary points. So on the left, we have birds. And these are the tiny honey hive tiles. And then on the right, we have child. And then I will pull the last ones when we get to the undercurrent and the forward steps or whatever. You know, sometimes I use this as like action and outcome. So basically this, having birds in this position really solidifies it's been all talk, right? There's been a lot of gossip. There's been a lot of chatter. There's been a lot of things that maybe are taking root in our hearts and even in our actions that we don't even know where the source is, right? Like birds are inherently, they're anxious, but they talk a lot. And sometimes when people talk a lot from a place of anxiousness, it might be projection. So it's kind of like seeing the devil and seeing the 7 of cups and these birds, it's going, yes, there's so many conflicting speeches going on. There's so many things that you're seeing, maybe you're reading, maybe, you know, what is it that you are allowing yourself to be tied to, and why? You know, these are the questions that you can ask when you see these cards come up and you're going, was it because it was something that you heard and you just took it as law, or you took it as a truth, or you took it as maybe something, or you believed in it? You know, that devil card is kind of like facing our inner demons and either accepting to be tied to them or realizing, you know, you can stay there for a while, but the chains are not tied around these people's necks. They can leave at any time, but they choose to stay there. And maybe that's because there's too many choices, so they don't know what they do. And it's easier to sit with the devil, you know. Bringing us to the theme of June, where it's strength. Okay, this month you have the strength and the companionship and the loyalty to get through whatever it has been to tether you there, right? You have endured so much. You have already put in the work, and now it's time to just sit there and craft and be in that peaceful calm of knowing that no matter what comes at you, you can overcome it, you can do it, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's just taking its small steps at a time, right? I always think about endurance with strength, because the endurance is what keeps us going. It's knowing that we can get through it, but we don't have to do it all at once. And then with the dog there overarching, we've got that knowing that there's people in our circle that really, really love us and want to see us do well and trust us and know that whatever it is that we're facing, we're not alone, right? And so then going forward, we have the Star and the Lovers. And I love that these two came up together, especially because the Lovers, you know, you've got the opposite of the Devil. So now the Lovers is like the foundation, and it's also taking too many choices and just putting it here and being like, okay, just make a choice. Go with what you feel in your heart, and know that it's going to be the right one, even if other people might say it's the wrong path. You're following your guiding star. What you're hoping for and what you've wished for is going to happen because of the choices that you are capable of making. And because, you know, in life, there's no wrong choices. I always say this to people who will listen to me. There's no wrong choices. There's just different paths. So choose what you love and know that it's okay to restart your day at any time. So the child comes in and says, this is something new. This is a startup. This is going the path less traveled, but it's also going after something that you love and knowing that it's probably fulfillment of your hopes and your dreams and all this dark period. Like, it can't be dark all the time. When the sun rises and the wishes finally show up, we've got this new day, right? So know that this is behind us and we're going into this better calm, right? And it's because you have found your path. You know where you want to be. You're following your heart. Your heart's aligning with your mind. You are literally at a place where you're going, all right, I've got this. I'm finding balance, you know, that calm, temperate balance. And it's time for the new, right? So this is the point when I start to like ramble and not really know. This is when I pull the bottom tiles to give us our like action steps for the month. We've got 3 in my hand. So we've got the clouds, the drone. So that's 28, which is the gentleman card, but it's the drone. And then the mice. And those are kind of like, right off the bat, you go, oh, those are just kind of bleh, action steps, right? Like, that's my first impression, is not wanting to see those together. But you're going, okay, but there's indecision, right? And so you might have to face that indecision, and the drone being that central figure. When I see the lady or the gentleman card in Lenormand come up in a collective reading, I look at the energy of that card. And then the drone, with the honey hive, you can look at it as to what that bee is actually there for. And that bee is there to do the you know, they don't do all the work like the worker bees do. Their sole purpose is to just mate with the queen, right? So we could be looking at it as maybe you're in this position of needing that strength because you don't know what your purpose is anymore, right? And the clouds bring that indecision into it. You're going, I still am so unclear. And then the mice is like, but what about all the little problems that come up? My advice is there's always going to be problems and there's always going to be indecision. But seeing that the child is over here, it's you're going to have to do it anyway. You know, when we find the problems, that gives us the solution, because then we know and we've named it and we're able to go through it. So the clouds in this position is saying, yeah, maybe you're not out of the dark yet, right here, right? Like, we're not out of these woods. But with the drone going, okay, what is it that I am focusing on? What is my purpose? What am I being called to do? Why am I here? And then when you get that, and you're going to hear all the little yeah buts, right? Like, the mice could be those yeah buts, the little things that are gnawing away at you, the things that are just really, really going, well, these are the problems beneath the surface. But when you find the problems beneath the surface, when you find the mice colony, when you find the ant colony, when you find all those little problems that are so-called hidden, now you can address them and you can start new every single day. So June is going to require you to just endure and go through it and know that no matter what, you've got this because you're strong enough to do it. And just take it a day at a time, you know, and just know that you're surrounded by your support team and the people that love you. And you can always take a step back and reevaluate things, but just know that as long as you're making a choice, you're headed in the right direction. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, I don't know how often I'll do it. I would love to say I'm going to do it every day, but I'm learning to just, when I feel called, I will do something and then I will share it with you. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Happy tarot casting, everybody. Thank you. Bye.